It is 5:30, so I'm going to go ahead and call the student advisory, or the joint meeting of this. I'm going to call the joint meeting of the Student Advisory Committee and the School Committee to order. First item of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The Mashpee Public Schools recognize and honor the many generations of Wampanoag people who live here and have sustained in this territory for more than 10,000 years. You have in front of you an agenda. Do I have a motion to ratify that agenda? Or are there any changes that are necessary? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve?
Mr. Chair, I will make a motion to ratify the agenda of January 29th, 2025.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further comment? Hearing none. Dan?
I vote yes.
Kathy?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
I vote yes. And in theory, you guys should be doing the same thing.
Oh, okay. Do I have to call the meeting to order?
No.
Okay.
Well, yeah, you do, for
wait, I
your,
do?
for your group.
Okay. I call to order the Student Advisory Committee meeting of January 29th, 2025. And after, do I have a second to ratify the agenda of January 29th,
Motion
2025?
first.
You gotta make a motion first.
I make a motion to ratify the agenda of January 29th, 2025. Do I have a second? I'll second that. You second that? Okay. Paige? Yes. Kira? Yes. Marielle? Yes. Tess? Yes. And I vote yes.
All right.
Good job.
First item, or next item of business is public comment. Is there anyone who wants to make public comment? Not this time? All right, everyone's saving themselves for the encore. All right, I will turn it over to Eve for introduction of the new members of the Student Advisory Committee.
Yeah, so my phone. So we got 2 new members as of last Thursday, was it? Friday. So do you two want to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, sure. Hello, I'm Tess Prevenger. I'm a junior at MMHS. Nice to meet you all.
Welcome,
You
Tess.
welcome.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Kira Duval. I'm a 9th grader here at MMHS. Nice to meet everyone.
You also welcome.
I think that's it.
You guys, I guess, got the rundown of how this all works and everything, and okay. Just want to make sure, and if you ever have questions, I'm pretty sure I can speak for all of us. We're here for you if you ever need anything.
Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda is student communication. Do you have anything you want to share, Eve?
Oh, okay. I didn't know. See, I looked at the agenda. I was like, I don't know exactly what they're talking about with that. Yeah, so
And let me just rephrase. Eve, do you have anything, and or your committee members?
for, like, what do you mean between?
If they have anything else
Oh.
besides you, what you are sharing.
So, well, I am going to advertise. We are doing, I gotta pull up the things. The band and chorus are teaming with performers from the Couture Center for the Arts on February 8th. If it'll load. At 7 p.m. in the Victoria Vieira Auditorium. Tickets are on sale. There's posters, I think, everywhere. It would be great if you came. It's when you order the tickets, there's groups that you can go for. There's all of the classes are fundraising through this. The music program is fundraising. The Active Minds is fundraising. AV Club. There's other ones, boosters, I believe, maybe.
So the money from the tickets for it go to whichever different
Yeah, a
group?
percentage will go to them.
Okay.
And then the other percentage will go towards paying the performers. But yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. It's the third year we've done this fundraiser, and the band gets to perform with these people, the chorus gets to perform, and it's a really great experience. It's a lot of fun. We do a lot of dancing just for fun. So yeah, if you want to come and have a good time, come to that. Do any of you have anything else you want to talk about?
Sure. So recently on Monday, we started a composting program at our school, which is really exciting. So before we used to have styrofoam trays, but we've now switched to plastic trays. And I'm a part of the environmental club, and so we've taken a lot of initiative as a group to pass this. So it's really exciting. We have a presentation that we shared during lunch. If I can pull that up.
I can also share it with you. She just sent it to me.
Okay. We also have flyers with statistics of why composting is important and the steps to compost at our school. So students will clear their trays and dump the food out in the containers, and they have to separate the food from the trash because at the moment we don't have a recycling program. But we're going to reconvene after February vacation. So empty all the trash into the recycling bin, and all plastic, glass, paper, wrappers, and bags need to be dumped out into the trash. Otherwise, this could ruin our compost, and we'd receive a fine from the company. So it's been really important to encourage other students to compost. And then the trays are then washed and sanitized by the lunch people, and then, yeah.
How are the kids taking, are they being helpful? Are they is it hard to get them to do the composting?
Yeah, it's been a little bit difficult, but a lot of the members that are on the environmental club have been encouraging others to compost, and it's been taken better than what we had expected, but we look forward to continuing the program at our school.
No, that's awesome. Good job.
Kathy?
You kind of said something, and I just was curious. I was going to ask a question anyways, but you mentioned a company takes it. Do you use any of it in the garden project that's currently set up?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. And then my other question is, are there plans to bring this to the Quashnet School by any chance? Once you get it going and kind of understand the best way to educate your peers, do you think you could see it coming to this building too?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's something that we could discuss with the environmental club. We'd love to spread it throughout the entire MMHS because we believe that composting is really important in our Mashpee community.
Yeah, I was just thinking because I know Ms. Mahan and her fifth graders have the garden out back too. So
Yes,
if
they use compost
Yeah.
from the school lunches.
Yeah, so very cool. Great job.
I just want to clarify because I think I had some misinformation or inaccurate information. You guys are still using plastic trays, right? Because I had heard possibly you were using cardboard trays, and I was curious about
Yeah,
that.
before we were using styrofoam trays, but just this Monday we've changed to using plastic trays. So yeah.
Okay. Which have longevity versus throwing them in the trash. Okay. No, that's a great change. Thank you. Any other questions? Student Advisory Committee participation. So this is now a full group, correct, Eve?
Yes, so
Okay.
we have our 5 members. We have encouraged those who applied and did not get elected, and also everyone else in the school, to come and see the meetings. We had one on Tuesday. My days are getting mixed up. Where we did publicize it in the announcements, and I'm hoping once we start having, we're trying to figure out how often we're going to have meetings right now. So when they are kind of scheduled, then we'll start also putting them in the Mashpee Minute to make sure students are aware of what's going on.
Okay. Can you just How many people did you have that were interested in joining the committee, and how did that whole process go?
So when we originally sent out the first form, there were 10 people, I believe, who filled it out. After we then sent out the candidate form to become a candidate, and there were 7 people who filled it out, and then we have Kira and Tess were elected. So there were 5 people who did not get elected, but Ms. Lynch personally emailed all of them, and I was included and said, thank you for trying. Like, if you want to try again in May, please do. As of now, like, if you are wanting to come to any of these meetings and voice your opinion, you are more than welcome to.
Okay, excellent. Well, much better. Sounds like you're increasing your participation level. All right. So, what do you have coming up?
I was going to ask a quick question.
Oh,
That's
sure.
okay.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. In terms of the student body contacting you all, they all know, like, do you have I know you started a classroom, which thank you, that's, I think, a great way, but do you have like a collective email for the student advisory committee? So like if somebody had a policy question, or is it just to contact the chair? Like, do students know, like, hey, we have this policy that says blah, 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 like, I want to talk to someone about it? Like, do they know how to contact all of you? Like, do they know what you guys do yet? I mean, I know you're all still learning too, but I guess I'm just curious how you communicate out to the student body what your role in this is, which is really to be kind of like us as a school committee, but getting the feedback from the students and bringing those policy questions, looking at the budget and saying, hey, you know, we noticed that this budget, you know, like those types of things, you're all part of that too. So I guess I'm just curious how you're putting that out to the student body.
It's been publicized that if anyone has any questions, they can email Ms. Lynch or myself. I would like to have an email for a student advisory committee. I know that was something Andrew anticipated on having last year, but it just never got going. So I would have to reach out to Ms. Brooks and ask if she could set that up. But I think it would be a good platform to use. Every couple days I can just check in and see what is going on.
Okay. And again, just a curiosity point of how people get in touch with you if they have something to bring to the table. Thank you.
All right, next item.
Upcoming. Focus, we have not entirely discussed, we have to have a meeting soon about what we really want to do this year. It's been a very short turnaround since when we had elections and when this meeting is. So we haven't fully worked on what we really want to do. But I think all of us, Kira and Tess, had some really good ideas in their candidate statements, and also people who didn't get elected also had good ideas, and that's why Ms. Lynch was telling them come to the meetings, because they have really good ideas. So I'm hoping that they'll hopefully come and voice their opinions, and we can work collectively as a student body to make those like lists of things they want come true.
Have you been working on anything prior to the elections?
No, just because I was trying to work the elections out, so.
Okay. I know there was a
Yes.
little bit of a calm period for the committee due to people and also an advisor open or vacancy at the time. Okay.
I would love to work with I would have to reach out to Mr. Williams and whoever else is the advisor for the Quashnet School Student Council, but I would love to work with them too and get their voices on some issues.
What was the, I'm just curious, the percentage of students that voted? Like, I know you said you put it out to the whole student body, right?
There were 125 voters. I don't know the exact percentage. I believe there's 600 kids, around 600 kids in the school. So that would be a little under 20%. But it's never, voting at our school has never been, it doesn't matter even like student advisory committee, student council, it's never been a thing that kids really want to do. If they do it, they do it. If they don't, they don't. We've tried in-person voting for regular student councils, and it's still just, the numbers don't really change.
So it's the same reflection of like when they vote for students? Okay. It's a tough situation, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's just from experience. If you've been to town meeting, you see the amount of people that unfortunately show up for town meetings, so. Okay, well, thank you.
I believe everyone was at the high school was affected, or at the middle high school was affected by the fire, and we're glad that no one was injured. And I believe the building is now back to somewhat normal, or almost 100%. How did that impact you guys, and any takeaways collectively or individually that maybe we can learn from to help you guys if there was an emergency in the future?
Well, Mashpee's gotten very good at evacuating kids. I will say that over the years. The athletic wing did just open up, I believe on Monday, was it? Miss Brady's nodding her head, yes. The weight room is still closed. I don't know the extent of the damage to that. I have heard it's not looking great. But yeah, the locker rooms, have any of you been in the locker rooms? I've not been down there yet. No. Yeah, I've not been down that athletic wing just because I haven't been there yet. But people have been in the gym. So from what I can kind of see walking by it, it looks perfectly
Does it still
normal.
smell like smoke?
No.
No.
The smell was gone within a couple days. So.
Anyone else?
Did it affect you guys in any way?
Is there anything that could have been done better or differently? I mean,
The evacuation process, the
dismissal,
yeah,
anything?
I don't think so. I mean, I think they handled it really smoothly. Like, they got us on the buses, which were warm, then took us to here, Quashnet, and we were able to go home, and we did miss, we got like one class period in, and then we had to go home, so we missed a day, but I don't think it messed up too much. It was very smooth.
And when the alarm rings, I believe you're supposed to leave everything there, and so you had to leave phones, etc., right?
Well,
And I'm assuming you managed to,
I was on my way out.
or that got saved in the evacuation process?
My bag was on the way out of the band room, so I did grab my phone and my jacket just because it was cold outside. And
But you
Yeah.
left the books to burn, right?
I was doing a paper, so my Chromebook was left charging in the band closet, and I was like, whoopsie.
I just wanted to confirm what I thought the priority was there.
No. Well, then next time we had a fire scare last week when the fire alarm went off at 8:15 in the morning, and I left my keys in the room. I was like, dang it. And I was like, I gotta bring my keys, gotta bring my keys, gotta bring my keys. And I took everything except my keys.
I kind of expected after you guys had to evacuate for that first fire that you would all be walking around school with your jackets and hats and mittens on. So
That's what one of my teachers told me. He's like, always bring a jacket, guys. Like, I always have one. Might not be big, but.
Let's hope that in the future it's just practices.
Yes.
You've all done very well at practicing, so
Yes.
good job.
And I think we do that every month, right?
How often is it? Four times a year.
So every other month you get to practice.
We've had a habit in the past year or two that it's gone up more than that, and not always for drills. So mistakes happen. It's like a fire alarm in the house.
All right.
If anything, you've proven you know what you're doing, so.
from what we heard, you guys did an amazing job. So you're obviously listening to what needs to be done.
So what would you, as a committee, when we have our next meeting, you can think about what you would like to talk about, but if there's certain things that you would like to discuss that you weren't included on the agenda tonight, please let Eve know or let us as a school committee know, and we'll make every effort to include that. My personal favorite I see was not on the agenda tonight, which was about lunches, but I'm not sure what happened to that one. But
can be items not known in advance.
We can talk
We can
about
talk
I was
it.
going to
about it.
say, I also had a quick question to add on to that.
Go
Not
for it.
lunches, but, and I'm pretty sure Ms. Vinitsky does share the the school committee's monthly agendas with you guys, and if not, you should be getting them, because you should all be reviewing those as part of the student advisory committee, and if there's something on the agenda that you feel you have a perspective or something to bring to the table, you five aren't all at the meeting at the same time. We meet every other month, but Eve is. So if there's something that is in the agenda that you're like, hey, can you ask the school committee about this agenda item? Or, hey, I've got some feedback on this point. Make sure you're, like, that's what you should be kind of doing in your meetings too, is looking at that agenda and saying, okay, the school committee is going to be talking about, like, we had a couple policies that we did a first read of at our last meeting. You should all be looking at that from the student lens and saying, how does this impact students? How does this impact, from your standpoint, what do you see in those things? And so that's part of like the function of this group. So if you ever have questions about it, again, we're here to help. You've got Ms. Lynch, Ms. Sinisi, Ms. Brady. You've got a whole group of people who can help explain things if you have questions, but that's part of like what your function is. So I just wanted to kind of remind, if you needed ideas and topics, those packets have a lot of things in them every month. You can look at the budgets, which I know can, lots of numbers, but again, from a student perspective, if there are clubs or things in the school, like, we always have that late bus for the high school, it's still in there, but those are things you can look and say, okay, I have a question on this, and you can, with Eve every month, or bring it to this bigger meeting with both of us and talk to us about it from your perspective. That's why we have this committee. So I just wanted to kind of, for the new members and for the old, to let you know, like, that's what you guys are here for, to give us that student voice in what our work is, so that we're making decisions with you guys in mind first. So.
And one of the big things that we talked about, I believe at our last school committee meeting, was in regard to the impact of, as a result of the change in the MCAS requirements. And I don't know what has been shared with the students in regard to the new policy in regard to competency requirements.
I wouldn't know.
And
Yeah, no, I think, if we can get them those items, because that's, again, you guys should be looking at that saying, okay, we're the ones who are, some of you are exempt from it because you're already seniors, but you might be
Couple
exempt
of
too,
these.
but you're going to be impacted by this policy. So you might want to look at it with everyone and say, okay, as a student, does this make sense? Is something being missed, or is this like crazy, or wow, this makes total sense, we love it? And maybe even talk to your fellow students and get their feedback of saying, hey, the school committee wants to make this policy that a 64 is a competency determination. If you get a 64 in these 4 classes, you're good, plus you have to do the graduation requirements, which are a little different. So from a student's perspective, it'd be great to hear what you all think of that policy, because it is going to be a pretty substantial, well, not substantial, but it is going to be a change to how things have been done, because we had MCAS for so long that said, yep, they get to walk that stage and get that diploma, and now we're kind of shifting. So
When's the next meeting, sorry?
For us?
Yeah.
We've not decided yet.
Okay, so I'll share all of that information and you'll have it for your next
Awesome.
meeting.
I did, over the weekend, I took all of my agendas since May, and I hole punched them and put them in binders and organized them. They're all pretty. So I did bring that to the meeting yesterday, and some of them were looking through the binders and just seeing what I had.
Mr. Chair.
yes.
To Kathy's point, I think it would be good for us to share, what each role that we have, because as school committee members, we do also serve as liaisons, or some of us serve on different working groups, whether that's outreach and stuff. I know in the past we have invited Eve to like a policy subcommittee meeting, but if any of you are interested in the finance working group, or you really want to understand some of those things, we open up that invitation to all of you so that you all, can be part of that process. If it's one of you, if you have an interest, please let us know. I think the other thing, while we have you all, I'm very mindful of the fact that while I might serve the community, I serve you all first and foremost. And I know that we have a very big decision before us next. I did get Eve's summary on the visits of the superintendents, but I really would like to hear from you all personally, if you feel comfortable enough to share that, because I really think it's important that we listen to your voice and that opinion, because I know so many times the adults sometimes, think they know what's best for you all, but this decision will definitely impact you all the most. So I would definitely be interested to know how you all feel about that. If you could summarize or speak to it. I know Eve was the student representative on the search committee, but if anybody else felt comfortable about some of the candidates, if you don't feel comfortable about it, that's fine. But I feel like this would be a great opportunity to have that discussion before we all determine, what we'll do in the next meeting to make that decision. So just wanted to offer that up if anybody wanted to speak.
Paige or Marielle, do you want to talk?
Can someone pass Paige a mic just so we can hear?
Kira and Tess were not on the committee to decide because they were not elected yet, so I didn't want to pick and choose from the people who applied.
Fair enough.
Did you share all the stuff that we discussed as a group at the end? I thought it went pretty well. I think we had like a good amount of time. We got to meet each of the candidates under the same circumstances. So I feel like we kind of had like a fair way to interact with them and also see how they interacted with us as being students and their connection with us. Did you share the rankings, Eve, that we
I did. I did a summary of what I had.
should I?
If you want to share what
If you
your
wanna
top
share,
pick
that's
was,
fine.
it's up to you. You don't have to, but if
I
you want to.
personally liked Dr. Connors the most. I felt like she was very motivated in what she was doing. She expressed how much she loved working with students, and I just felt that she just had a good, I just liked her the best. She just was a good representation of what I think Mashpee really stands for. And I think all of us, was that what we
That was the
decided was our,
consensus, yeah.
we all agreed that we liked her the best. Yeah. Do you have anything?
I agree with everything you said. Thank you, ladies.
Anyone else?
They both didn't meet any of them.
Yeah, there was us three and then another senior and then two sophomores.
Yeah. And
Kevin
Beans.
Yes, and an eighth grader.
And Kevin.
Can I just ask a clarifying question, guys? So thank you for the wrap-up or the write-up, Eve. It was really informative and really helpful because I loved how you guys talked about some of the not-so-positive experience that you had, but then really being able to look at the positive aspects of it and encompassing all of those opinions into this document was beautiful. I guess the question for Ms. Connor, since the three of you kind of highlighted her as the top choice, I know the last bullet here was having a main focus is how it affects the students and how sometimes something can be made better for students. So in your viewpoint, like your conversations, what was that focused around? What were some of those ideas? Like what was your experience with that? Because it seemed very important to you guys.
Yeah, I wrote very important.
Yes, you did.
I was also writing this early in the morning, so like my brain was not completely alive. No, so basically a lot of when she answered questions, she was very thorough on, okay, my first thought is how does this affect the students? And personally, superintendents do a lot. They do so much for staff, for students, but for the town, but in reality, everyone is here right now because of the students. Mm-hmm. And students, in my mind, and this is just me saying as a student representative, but students come first because the whole reason the school was built was because we were trying to educate those students. And so I really just liked how she had a mind of, okay, how can we make this better for the students and how is it going to affect them? Because sometimes people get wrapped up in their own, they make it more personal instead of really thinking of the big picture. My mom always tells me, look at both sides of the story. And so it felt like when she was talking, she really looked at both sides of the story and not just her perception of
Yeah.
what was going to happen. So.
Awesome. Thank you, Eve, and thank you for the rest for putting this together. It was very helpful.
Well, as you're probably aware, there's lots of different opinions in regard to which candidate or candidates people think should be the next superintendent of the Mashpee Public Schools. And when we open our next meeting here at 6:30, one of the things we will be asking is for feedback and comment and public comment from everybody before the committee actually has a discussion regarding how to proceed in determining who would be the next superintendent. So as you have probably noticed, it's not an easy process. It's a long process, as Eve will attest to. This process started way back in October, and really started before that when we started thinking about it back in really
April. I say April when
yeah,
we got the letter.
probably in April when the former superintendent informed us that she was going to be retiring. And it's a long process, a lot of people involved, a lot of different opinions, but we try to get to a consensus of what everyone thinks is the best answer for you and for the families and faculty here at Mashpee. And it's not an easy decision. It's one that this committee takes extremely seriously. It's probably the biggest decision we have to make. It's bigger than a budget. We can address a budget, right? But if we make a mistake, or if we make the right decision, that either way has an impact on each of you. And that's what we care about, is how this will impact you, what that individual can bring to the table to be able to make Mashpee better and make your experiences the best that they possibly can. Because we want to see you thrive, grow, develop, and sometime in the future be sitting over here on this side of the table enjoying what we get to enjoy. I know Eve's over there laughing, but
Some of us do enjoy it.
I do enjoy it.
all right. Is there any other comments, questions before we go ahead and adjourn the advisory committee meeting?
Ms. Lynch, would you like to say anything about what's going on, your role with the Student Advisory Committee? Or?
Well, I'm very new to it, but I do, last year when I had talked to Dr. Hanscom when she was here, I had stated that I did watch them when I was doing the daily announcements for the Builders Club, because I found that you get a lot of information just by listening to the students and what their perspectives are and how that can differ from me as a staff member, what's affecting their day-to-day lives. So I'm just excited to be here, and I'm excited to help empower some really awesome young people and work together in tangent with everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you for stepping up into this role. I really appreciate you offering to mentor and help facilitate this, so thank you.
And hopefully this will be a long-term relationship.
No pressure. Again, like we've said to the young ladies, anything you need from us that we can help guide you, or let us know.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, hearing no further business, I will call for a motion to adjourn the school committee portion of the joint meeting?
So moved.
And I will second.
Okay. Further discussion? Hearing none. Dan?
I vote yes.
Kathy?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes?
Brian?
Yes.
And I vote yes, so it's unanimous. We will need to do the same.
I call for a motion to adjourn the Student Advisory Committee meeting of January 29th, 2025. Does anyone want to make that motion?
You can just say so moved.
You could say so moved.
So moved. I have to have them second it?
Yes.
Okay, who wants the second?
There you go.
Okay. Paige?
Yes.
Kira?
Yes.
Marielle?
Yes.
Tess? And I'm a yes.
We need to get you guys the Robert's Rules cheat sheets, so you
I
know
do,
all the
yeah.
motions and what you can and can't do, kind of thing.
Thank you,
All right,
guys.
thank you very much.
Thank
We
you very
appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll see you in a couple
April.
months. April, couple months. All right?